Hello, good afternoon, Foxgloves and Snapdragons, and welcome to Sunday's episode here of Handmade Home. Boy, I am so tired today. Handmade Home Shopping. I can't even say the name of my own show. It was a very rough night last night. I super apologize if I am very tongue-tied and word jumbled today. I am your host, Fairy Princess Lolly, and we have a really great lineup today. We did have a cancellation here for our first vendor, so before I jump into things with the rest of our lineup, I actually have an unboxing that I'm gonna do with a item that I bought from a previous vendor. Before I get into it though, please, if you're watching from home, hit the like and subscribe button for us and give us those thumbs up and huzzahs. And also, today's show is sponsored by the Pagan Business Network, PBN Radio and podcast. And you can find them on Facebook. I'll go ahead and actually put this up here for you guys. And it is basically a podcast and website, Facebook pages that cater and bring you information and news and blogs, articles all about things in the pagan world and music and topics of interest. So as well as offering advertising opportunities and cross promotion to small businesses, small pagan businesses. So please check them out. Actually, I definitely like their radio. It's free to listen to and plays through your computer. I actually have bought music from people that I have never had never heard until I listened to the radio, and then I went out and spent my money there. So yes, so please check them out. It's a good thing. And I'll leave that going here for a minute. So I've got a few minutes before we actually get into our first vendor. So now don't be alarmed because I have this sharp implement. I also have a floof right here. She is trying to soak up all of the pets. So don't be alarmed if you see a little cat head pop up. But this is my box. So this is from the Selective Scrivener. And the Selective Scrivener was on our show a couple of weeks ago. They make hand-turned pens and pencils, wood pens and pencils, although you can actually get a sort of acrylic kind if you wanted like a wild color or something. Can you move your floofy tail out of the way? Thank you. So in order to fill this time, and I haven't even opened this yet, I was going to do it on Fae News on Wednesday. And by the way, let me apologize, please. We almost didn't even have a show today. We've been having such a struggle with our interwebs over here. And I've got the Tech Troll and Leprechaun have been on it, and it's just been a hassle. And we missed a whole bunch of shows this week because of that. I'm super sorry, you guys. And then it almost happened literally just an hour ago, which was pretty terrible. And I was freaking out because I didn't even know what I was going to do. So that was a thing. And I'm super glad I'm here. As far as I know, we're going to continue to have regular shows going in the next week. So I'm pulling all of these out of here. Now, I ordered 2 different types of pens. And I will just hold up. I've got his information going here down on the bottom, but I will hold up the card for you guys to see. And is it the same on both sides? Now here's the back side. Oh, with a lovely glare. There we go. So you can see that, and he is actually all the way up from the Duchy of Snow, as we would call it in the Fae realm, from Portland, Maine. And I ordered from him that both of these, one of these is a fountain pen, and one of these is a ballpoint pen, because I love fountain pens, but this other one had I'll tell you about it when I get there. But this is the fountain pen, and I have been dying for years to have a beautiful Cocobolo fountain pen. And so this is this is beautiful. This came out gorgeous. I got to select look at that wood. Cocobolo is so beautiful, and I have wanted one for so long. And so when they came on the show, I finally did the thing. And it unscrews here. I prefer the screwing because it helps. It's a little more airtight. Here's the nib. And let me see. Should open up here because it is refillable. I don't know if the cartridge is in there. No, cartridges should be here. So, and everything actually has come very well packaged. So, Okay, so there are 2 different cartridges. It looks like, because the ballpoint pen will already have it. So I've got 1 cartridge, which is already an ink loaded. Oh, you can't even see because the bag. Let me fix that for you guys. This is an ink cartridge here. It just goes in and boop, pops there. This one is a refillable ink cartridge that you would stick down into the ink bottle, and then you turn this and it sucks the ink up in it, and then those go in like this, and then on with the lid I'm holding in my hand. Actually, well, this, and it looks like, actually, because we've got this threading here, so it looks like we can do this whilst writing, so the cap is not always falling off. I mean, this pen has turned, this is beautiful, just gorgeous. Oh, it's nice and heavy. I love that. I really like writing with fat, heavy pens. So now the second one is a pen like I've never had before, and unfortunately, the style did not come in quill. I keep wanting to say quill nib. What I mean is a fountain pen. Didn't come in a fountain, and you can see there it is, my antiquated language coming out. But it was so unique, and it did come in an awesome pink color that I had to buy it and try it. So again, I chose a fat design. He has several designs that you can choose from as far as the shape of the pen, but I chose the fat one because I like writing with the fat. And it was in pink and gold. And the thing about this one, and I don't even know how to do this because I've never done it before, I'm assuming this is right. So it's an aromatherapy pen. And here on the top, which it looks like it just unscrews like this, I guess this is where I would put one of these, which is like a little cotton insert. Let's see, I'll just try it here for you guys. Oh, we're rolling up on 4:10, and I also have my first person in the wings. So I'm gonna make this really fast, and then we will move on to the very first vendor today. Very excited. This is what they look like this. And then I would put this into, you can see, like, essential oil. There we go, like a little 5/8 dram of that or whatever. And then it goes in here like this. And then you have this awesome smelling, because you can see that there's the holes there in the top. And you have this awesome smelling fragrance. So I decided that when I got this was going to be my show pen that I keep here at the desk for all of the shows. So I'm very excited about that. And now here they are, and I've opened them with you today. And we are at 4:10. So we will bring our first vendor in, Loxley.
Hello.
Hello, are you there?
I am.
Hi. Oh, yes, I can hear you so much better now. So
wonderful.
I can hear you just fine. Loxley, you are from the Dapper Goblin.
Yes.
And
yes,
I am going to go ahead and just pull your information up here.
Thank you.
Please, if you will, man, look at you and your vest and everything. Everything is wonderful. Please, if you will, introduce yourself to our audience today. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what your home fairs, shows, conventions, whatever it may be for you. Give a shout out to your kingdom if you're in the SCA, and let's see what you've got for us today.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. I am Loxley with the Dapper Goblin, or the Dapper Goblin. I come from many names, so any of them will get my attention. I am Portland-based, so I'm mostly around the Portland fairs, Feather Falls, which is a bit south of that, and various pirate fairs. And then there are smaller markets around. Now, I go to Fairy Worlds, but I don't vend there. I work with the lovely crew at Oberon's Tavern. Myself, as the Dapper Goblin, I mostly make...
Oh, you're an Oberonite! Oh, I have had many shenanigans at Oberon's.
Good. We hope to have more shenanigans again. And outside of them, so I don't vend with them necessarily all the time, but outside of them, I just make my own general things. And my favorite thing to do is to take secondhand finds, so be they old hats or vests or anything like that, and spruce them up for fairs, festivals, theater, sitting around the house, talking on Skype, those kind of things.
Awesome. Yeah, we found you through one of our own here, Sarah Nettle, the jackalope, and she was
Yeah.
wearing one of your vests on Fae News. Not this last week, because this last week everything got foobarred. So the week before. And foobarred, by the way, is like a goblin swear word. I'm pretty sure of it.
I know what it stands for, but it's all goblinese. Don't worry about it.
It's all goblinese, that's right. So yeah, what do you have to share with us today? Let's take a look at some of your stuff, because I see you've got some things behind you and they look amazing.
Yes, I tried to make it feel a little more homey, like a fair. So I have some of my various vests around me. Some of these are for sale, already up. Some of them are not yet. And besides vests, so really most of these I'll post them up and they're fully done. But what you can always do is someone who has maybe a vest that doesn't have anything on it and wants to spruce it up a bit, they can send it to me and I'll put whatever they want on it and send it back. Just that way, you know, it fits really well. You know, you already like it, and it saves you a bit of money too. And then besides this, I also make patches. I make mostly animal patches. So I have a couple just kind of laid out. Let's see if this actually works. Yeah. So they're all fabric. I dye everything here. It's the same with everything on my
patches.
On my vest. I dye everything by hand. It all starts out as beautiful plain muslin, and I kind of piece them together. Everything starts with a sketch. I don't know how well you can see that.
A little bit closer, maybe.
Oh yeah, sketch. Very plain.
Ah, there we are. Yes.
And then they grow up to be patches.
And then they grew up. So, I was just going to ask. So that one that you just held up, is that also what's on the? Is it a vest that's behind you there? It looks like it's got a big crow or a raven.
This one does. This one has a big old raven on the back, and these are from my new dye set, so they are now washable, which is very exciting for me.
Oh.
Still working on it, so you can see kind of things are pieced together. I have some coyotes that might go on the front here, and pretty much any animal you want. I can make. I say that with some trepidation now because someone's going to want like a millipede jellyfish or something.
Oh man! Somebody will be like, "Can you please do a sea cucumber for me?"
Yes, I can probably get out. It won't look like much, but mammals are good. Amphibians are good. And,
well, you have some great compliments from the audience saying that your outfit is pretty stunning and amazing. Is that a top hat that you have there next to you, next to the vest behind you?
It's on this side. Yes, so this is a top hat that I made with some leftover fabric that I had, which I was very happy about. There's a fox on top.
Oh, that is so cool.
Map fabric is some of my favorite to make. I really enjoy doing it. I draw everything out with a pen. I write all the little names and the little like longitudes and latitudes on there, and it's just a really fun thing to do. That's very specific.
So now it's a map that's on that. Is that what you said? A map?
I'm a small person, so.
That's probably how it would look on me too. My head is actually quite small.
It happens. Yes. So
that is so cool. And you did that all by hand?
Yes, with some fabric markers. It's the same that's on, I don't know how well this quality is. You can see here, and a lot of my stuff will have, it's fabric that looks like journal, and it's the same thing. I just write little journal entries. And I just use my handwriting that I use for notes, so it's illegible anyway, so I can write anything.
So you have a question from the audience, which is, do you make a raven vest, I am guessing like the one that is behind you, in troll sizes? So for big folk.
So that's something with my
shoulders.
shop, because everything is kind of either I post up already made, or you can just custom ask. So you can say anything from, I want something in troll size, give me maybe inches or something.
Yes.
Send me a message on Etsy or Facebook or something, but I can make anything in any size. I am a really small person, so I know the struggle of finding things that fit you. Yeah, garb should always make you feel good, so I want it to fit well.
Yep. Okay. Well, so for those of you watching at home who are maybe joining us here for the first time, I'm going to go ahead and pull it back to both of us here because we're coming up here. We have a couple more minutes, but for those of you guys watching at home, all of the information for Dapper Goblin is in the low bar on Ye Old Book of Faces and the YouTubes if you would like to check out Loxley here in the future. So yeah, just wanted to put that out there. So please go ahead and give them a look-see if you are looking for something totally unique. I love how just every piece is going to be its own thing. So apparently the troll inches in troll sizes is all of them. Just all the inches equals troll size.
All of this. Oh, I'm seeing some. So I had closed down the other window so I wouldn't be distracted. So I'm seeing myself, but now I see. Beautiful, lovely. So I will answer all these questions down in the chat after my time.
Okay.
And just so I don't take up too much speaking time, if that's all right.
No, it is all.
And before I forget, I
Yes.
also make giant leaves, and with the summer sun upon us, this is what I always do with these. I will be shitless outside except for a giant leaf.
I love that idea. I'm super all about covering because I don't like to have the sun directly on me. Those are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I have all kinds of things. And then also because you can wear that sideways, and then you could use like a cool cloak clasp or some kind of like those round ones, you know, that you turn with. I don't even know what they're called. I guess a cloak clasp, but there's different kinds of those.
I love. You see it and you come up with what you want to with what you want to do. Like you're already being more creative with it than I have. So I love this. It's like throwing a pebble into your palm.
I like your leaves. I don't know. I might have to take a look at one of those after the show. So,
sure.
Yeah. All right.
You're welcome to ask me for any kind of colors with them. I can do kind of whatever. I hand dye everything. Kind of. It's like finger painting. I dip my finger in the powder and I put it on the fabric. So, really, I bet that looks really funny on camera. Really, any kind of combination or whatever, I'm down to do. So, if you're a fall person, a summer person, a blue and purple person, whatever.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today, and I look forward to. Yeah, I look forward to having you. Please, if you want to stay in the comments, you are most welcome to do so. So,
absolutely.
Well, I don't know how it is down there in the City of Roses, but up here it's actually pretty nice today. So I hope if you also are having nice weather, that you have a little chance to maybe get out and have a good evening. So.
Absolutely. And thank you so much again. I look forward to the next people up on here.
Yes, 100%. So, and speaking of which, goodbye. Bye. And next person up here, our next vendor is RhiannonWillowfae. Rhiannon, I'm going to bring you in here.
Hello.
Hi, my lady. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I am doing well. It's wonderful to see your beautiful face.
Yours as well.
Why, thank you. Thank you. Please, if you will, introduce yourself to the audience and tell us who you are and roughly where you're from, you know, and give a shout out to your kingdoms or your home fair or events or shows that you may frequent. Please feel free to do that. Say hello to your people. By all means, I'll turn it over to you here.
Thanks. So I'm RhiannonWillowfae. I'm a fairy connected psychic reader. I use cards and I do Akashic readings as well as fairy healings. And I'm currently living in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Just moved like 3 months ago. And but I'm from
Wyoming is very pretty.
It's gorgeous. And like all of the wildflowers just went pop. So it's like extra pretty right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it's very different from Portland, which is where I'm from. But I'm really loving the difference just from being in Portland all my life to being able to see and experience some different things. I am usually seen at Fairy Worlds. That's the only fair that I am regular at. But I volunteer, so I'm not vending there usually. I volunteer in the kids' tent, which is like one of my favorite things. Getting to interact with all the kids and all that fun stuff. But yeah, so a little bit about how I work. Everything I do is through the fairy realm.
Yeah, actually, can I? So we actually have never even. I'm sorry to pause you.
Oh, you're fine.
We've never actually even had a vendor like you on the show before, who does readings or anything. You're the first one. Congratulations. And so yes, so it. Please, if you will, just elaborate for us, like exactly yeah, it sounds like that's what you are about to do, is to go into how it is you do your psychic readings and the various cards in Akashic, how it is that you do that in this new and virtual format, since people cannot go into your booth or, you know, go into their local metaphysical store to do that. Yes, please be descriptive.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And shall I pull up your website as well while you talk?
Oh, yeah. I actually, like, most everything that I just link it through my Linktree,
Okay.
just straight to the readings. I like to explain to each person that I talk to what my readings do. So
Okay.
it probably doesn't translate well onto a website, unfortunately. It translates better when you're just having the conversation and explaining to each person based on how much they know. So in the basis of, if somebody knows nothing about fairies, I usually like to educate a little bit in the beginning before explaining how I do my readings. And I do everything through chat in the digital space now. I can do video if someone requests, but almost everybody asks just for chat. I like doing chat because then you have a written out of everything we talked about that you can go back and you can read over again. So, you know, as you're like assimilating everything we talked about, you can go back and you can read it again without having to try to remember listening.
Transcript there, yeah.
Right. So, all of my readings are all intuitive. I do everything, you know, based on how each, like when I'm doing a card reading, for example, a card might traditionally mean one thing, but a lot of times my fairy guides will tell me, no, this means that right now.
A different thing.
Yes. So I've learned to listen to them over listening to my knowledge sometimes. And thankfully, because I do have that knowledge basis, I've learned how to incorporate what the fairies are saying into what humans might understand a little bit better. And how
that's good, because that means they're all everything is definitely customized to the person that you're sitting there with and, you know, pulling the energy from at that immediate time. So
yeah,
that's kind of what kind of how that translates, at least from what I'm hearing. Can you tell a little bit about the different types of readings that you do, and what does Akashic mean? What kind of decks do you use? Elaborate on that a little.
Yeah,
and if you have them to show, by all means, like, hold them up and let's take a look and see what you've got. So I'll turn it over to you. Here we go. I'm gonna embiggen you.
Okay, embiggen me. So I when I do an Akashic reading, for example, that would be about your past lives and who you were in the past. I always focus on at least 1 to 2, but I will usually give you a rundown of what all of them were. And when I do that, the Akashic records are the records of our past lives. So I access those and I'm actually able to pull that information in and find out the specifics. Whatever is written down there, I can usually find it out. I do a lot of meditating when I'm doing those readings. So I do always ask people to give me like 3 days advance so that I can kind of do the meditations beforehand so that then we can have an hour to discuss it. And then also with those readings, I cover you know, sometimes I'm able to pull their name, and I usually give a little mini natal chart, like astrology reading, just about who they are in this life and how that pulls in what their past lives were and what their mission is in this life. As far as cards go, I mostly use the Froud Fairy Oracle for most of my readings. I actually
Which is a beautiful deck.
I actually mixed it, so I have both decks together, the Heart of the Fairy Oracle and the Fairies Oracle. So I have them together, and so it's this big chunky dude, and
a lot of variety though.
Yes, and I've noticed that since I've changed to using the full deck, it's almost like putting together something that had been torn apart before, almost. And I'm getting even more information from the deck by doing that. I also use Kisma Stepanich's Fairy Wicca Tarot. I use that as well, and this deck is also just gorgeous.
A little closer.
Oh, yes.
Oh, there we are.
So this deck is also just gorgeous. I love the back of it with the triscale and everything.
Oh yeah.
And this deck, I use it also usually in Akashic readings for the most part, because it has a lot of the gods and goddesses in it, and it has so many different archetypes and things that I can get a really good basis of what somebody's mission is in this life. Now,
I do have a quick question from the audience, which is, you answer it as you will in time, but what are your fees per reading is what's being asked. So I'll let you continue and then answer that. Just know that it's out there.
Okay, I will. So yeah, so I do give, each of my readings are very in-depth. I do my 5-card readings are my most popular, and that's just a traditional tarot reading. I do use the Faery Oracle from the Frauds for those readings, and that is $40 US. And like I mentioned, that is...
Can you define traditional reading?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Can you define traditional reading for those who may not know?
Yeah, so the querent would ask the question, and then I pull the 5 cards, and then I'll use, the my connection to Faery as well as my intuition to explain to them, the answer to their question, or, explanation of the situation or whatever. And so that's what that reading is. That's kind of when you go into a shop and sit down with a psychic, that's what most people expect. That's what that reading is for $40 US. And I don't really put a time limit on it. It usually takes about 30 minutes for me to explain it all and get everything and answer questions and all that. And I'll usually pull 1 to 2 clarifier cards if somebody needs them. My Akashic Records readings are $99 US. And as I mentioned, they do take about 3 days for me to prepare for, and about an hour to go over all of the information and answer all of the questions. And of course, I'm always open if somebody has a question, like the next day, like, right. Hey, you mentioned this thing and I don't really understand it. I will always clarify for that too, because I understand that when you're doing a past life reading, it's a lot to take in. So I like to be able to give people enough time to kind of absorb it a little bit and still be able to come back and answer those questions for them. Because I know how it works.
Well, that is, so we are coming up on your time, and I don't want to, of course, just cut you off. But I do want to say, mention to the audience that you are participating in the magic word this week, and this week's magic word is fairy ring. And you can see which vendors are participating. If you guys look in the low bar, you'll see vendors with a mushroom next to their name. You can use the magic word where the magic mushroom is. And I don't know if you want to leave it as a surprise for people when they use it, if they should avail themselves of your services. But so I'll leave that up to you. I'm going to bring us back here. I'll leave that up to you to decide. But any last words before we say goodbye today?
Oh, yeah. I just want to thank you very much for having me today. It's a really great experience. It's my first time getting to do something like this, so I really appreciate it.
Yeah, 100%. So it's great to have you on the show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. We are cruising right along here, despite the little hurdles that we had getting going here. So our third vendor for today is Down the Road Clayworks, and I'm going to find you and bring you in here, Chase. Yes.
Hi.
There. Hello.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yes, 100%. So please introduce yourself to our audience and tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and give a shout out to your home fairs or kingdom, friends, whatever, friends, family. Hi, Mom. Anybody that you know may be watching from home. And let's see what you've brought for us today.
Yeah, sure. So my name's Chase. I run Down the Road Clayworks, which is a little pottery I started 8 years ago now, I think. And I've done a few fairs, but my home fairs would be Canterbury and Oregon Ren Fair. I've also done Fair in the Grove and Fairy Worlds a couple times.
Hey, I'm like, oh, I've done all of these at least. Well, except Oregon. But I've done Fairy Worlds. I've done Fair in the Grove at some point. Canterbury every year. So
yeah,
sorry,
good ones.
I was like really excited. I'm like, oh, these are like my fairs too. So anyway,
yeah. Well, I make pottery and ceramics, mostly out of red stoneware these days. I've got one piece right here.
Ooh,
this is
kind
of my main style.
Allow me to pull you over here. There we go.
I do these hand-carved Celtic knots. Each pot has its own, so they're like matched to fit the exact body. I have a blue one here for comparison. Different shape, same style.
And you put the knotwork on there by hand?
I put that on there by hand. I learned at an Irish festival how to draw a grid out on the whole body, and then how to draw gates between the grid, and then that becomes the knotwork. And so I don't even know what it looks like really until it's finished. I just see the shape of where it's going to be.
Well,
and
that's awesome.
This is a red clay, so it's really high in iron.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of fun. It's got a rich color.
Terracotta.
Yeah, and it works really well. This is my other mainstay, is the barrel. This is the large version. These came out of the kiln this morning. This is a 24-ounce barrel mug with a tentacle handle.
Oh, how cool is that?
I would make a little wooden floor. And I do these in both blue and this kind of black-green glaze.
Oh,
it's kind of hard to angle it with this mirror flip. Oh, and this one's a squid tentacle, a slightly different variation. I just started doing these guys with their funny little hand.
Wait, a little bit slower. Hold that up a little, and then.
So this one doesn't have all the tentacle suction cups. It just has the little pad on the top.
Okay, gotcha. Oh, yeah, I understand what you're saying.
You know how the squid have those two different arms,
yes,
apart from the rest of their tentacles. So this one will probably be a couple dollars less than this guy. So I do a lot of cups and bowls.
Now, can I pull your Etsy store here up for us to? Oh no, you still have some. So we'd rather look at what you have with you live in your hand. Please continue to show. I'm sorry. I got
this one. This one's one of my favorites. This is a real new thing. I started making these treasure chests.
Oh.
I got some dollhouse hinges and these tiny padlocks, and you can actually get in there, and it's like a cute little lockbox.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That's adorable, and it's tiny, and it looks so old-fashioned. The little lock too that you had on there.
Yeah, this little patinaed metal lock. It comes with 2 keys, because who hasn't lost a key?
Keys don't get lost; they get swiped.
They get swiped. They find their way to another realm.
I know they go on a little imp's key ring somewhere, so they can jingle jangle.
Yeah. I have one more thing maybe to show before jumping to the site, and that is, I get asked all the time for like the largest mug you can imagine. This guy holds 32 ounces.
Oh my gosh.
So it's, I qualified as my colossal sized mug. You fit 2 to 4 beverages of your choice in there, or an entire pot of coffee. I've done that once. I would not recommend it.
I feel like if I were to hold it, it would look so enormous in my hands.
Yeah. I'm kind of a tall guy, so I have sort of big hands. But yeah, this thing is
A
huge.
whole pot of coffee.
A whole pot of coffee in here.
That is
for the
great.
exceptionally first.
I mean, I am the Java magic beans are definitely one of my vices of choice, but I am not sure about a whole pot at one time. So,
Yeah.
I have a quick question about your mugs, if I may. Sometimes folk like to put when they're out and about and walking around, they can't really have liquid sloshing around or to carry it. Can you are the holes, the mouths of them big enough for like a water bottle or a can of something that can sit inside of it so it's kind of disguised? Is that a thing?
The larger ones, yeah. You could literally fit a tall boy can inside one of these bigger barrels.
Oh wow.
The smaller one, I have some smaller ones. You could fit something more discreetly in the little barrel. Or that tall cylinder mug, that would definitely hold a can.
Oh, this is cool. This handleless mug with the Celtic bird.
Yeah.
I love this.
I've tried something new.
And so, and then also the classic, I always say it wrong, Triskelion.
Triskelion, yeah.
Did you hand do all of these? Like carve them the way you did them?
I haven't made all of the logos. Some of the
Wow.
Celtic ones are they're like open source stock logos. So
Yes.
I have a mold of those that I can make skellions and birds for days. But I have a few others that I have made that are unique to my shop specifically.
That is really cool. And then of course we have the bowls and plates. Are you able to do custom designs if somebody maybe wanted a particular, like on this with the Celtic bird and the Triskelion, like if somebody wanted a different animal, for example, would you be able to look that up and then maybe make them a custom one?
Absolutely. I actually just finished a Phoenix mold that's pretty exciting. I'm going to be having some fun getting that into rotation. And I have a lot of other stuff, like these large barrels just came out today. So I'm going to put those on the Etsy soon.
Gotcha. So we are getting the first preview of new product.
Just born this morning.
Well, that is excellent. Aha, that's what you get for coming and watching the show. But also, you are participating in the magic word, which I shall remind everyone at home is a fairy ring. So you're participating in the magic word, meaning that if somebody is to purchase from you within this next week and they put the magic word into the checkout comments, then they will receive some manner of surprise bonus trinket gift with their order. I don't know if you want to reveal what that is or if you want to keep it a secret. Either one is fine. I like the surprise too, right? Yeah. But yes, so we are coming up on your time, and so I'd love to thank you for coming on the show. Are there any last words you have before you depart? Not duly departed, just departed.
Yeah, certainly. Well, thanks so much for having me. This is great. I love seeing what everyone else is presenting. It's so cool to see the Faire folk when we can't be at Faire. So yeah, thank you again. And shout out to my mom if you're watching. I love you. I hope you're well. See you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. That was adorable and lovely. Shout out to the mom. So we are moving on to our fourth vendor here today, which is the Moonshea Botanicals Soapworks. So I am going to find you down here and to bring you in. Ooh. Oh, I'm sorry. I have just discovered a new feature of doing my show. Look at that. Hi. How are you?
Hi. Very good. Can you hear me?
So Yola Wolfdaughter. Yes, I can. Did I say it right?
Yes, Yola Wolfdaughter.
I did. So,
I'm also known as the soap.
well, you are with
Moonshea Botanical Soapworks.
So with Moonshea Botanicals, Soapworks, yes. All right. Well, please, by all means, introduce yourself to the audience and give a shout out to your kingdom or home fair or event, whatever it is that you may do. Say hello to your people. Thank them for coming and watching. And let's just see what you've got for us today. I'll turn it over to the big screen when we start getting to the product part.
Okay, very good. All right. Yes, my name is, thank you for having me. My name is Yellowbull's daughter, aka the Soap Lady. I reside in East Kingdom, Crown Province of Usgard, in the canton of Lion's End. I'm actually the Herald of Lion's End. Mundanely, my name is Karen. Yes. My name is Julie Garen Gregory, and I am the head owner and artisan of Moonshea Botanical Soapworks. I specialize in uncolored hot process soap, and that looks.
What is hot process? Can you?
Hot process is a method where I take all of what you use for cold processed soap, and you put it in a crock pot, or what I call my magic cauldron. and you stir, you mix. Well, I use a stick blender, and you force the saponification so you can use it faster. So
okay.
I make soap 2 days before an event and package it and have it go out that Saturday.
Versus a cold process, which
takes 4 to 6 weeks of curing time.
Oh,
because it's still caustic when it's done with their process.
What does caustic mean? I clearly don't know very much about the soap making. Oh,
the
that's terrible.
The lye is still active. Yeah, and this is. Just hold on, I had a.
Okay, I'm gonna embiggen you so we can see what you've got really well. So. There we go.
This is my, if I can, okay, there we go. This is one of my best sellers, Crusader.
And I love your packaging.
Thank you. I make it myself.
Oh, nice.
I fold them myself.
Can you hold it very close so we can maybe see the words on it? There we go. Oh, and your little logo and everything. Okay.
Yep. I can read it to you. It's not clearing up. It's sandalwood, patchouli, vanilla mint, and Egyptian musk.
Ooh.
So, yeah. And it's my best seller. And I blended this particular scent myself.
Dusky musky goodness.
Yes, exactly. I also do moisturizing body bars, which look like this, in a tin.
So this is hand lotion or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. And I have a agreement that you send me back the tin or the bottle or the, like, I also do deodorant.
Oh, deodorant.
Yeah. So you finished with this, you mail it back to me, you get a 5% discount on your next
wow.
Mm-hmm. I also do.
So keeping it green with the eco-friendly reusable packaging there.
I also have hand sanitizer.
Ah, I hear it is a rare thing to get these days.
It is. And just for the people out there, the reason why it's not clear is because I use lavender essential oil, and it actually has a reaction with the alcohol in the base that I use. So, it's working because the oil and the alcohol don't mix. So It's got a little cloudy effect.
Out of curiosity, are you able to make that hand sanitizer in custom fragrances?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Oh.
But I only have a few certain essential oils. I have jasmine, a little bit of jasmine. I have lavender. I have cedarwood. The other fragrances I use are skin-safe fragrance oils. Everything that I've shown you, I tried on myself. I'm the guinea pig.
on yourself first.
Mm-hmm. I have extremely sensitive skin, so yeah. I started this out because my father was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and he was an albino person with albinism.
Oh,
so
wow.
his skin was even more sensitive than mine. And the products we were using on his skin was just like ravaging it.
Yeah.
And I tried to make the soap for him, but unfortunately he passed before I could finish the product.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
That's 7 years ago.
So shall we take a look at your shop, or do you have some more things to show to us here?
That is the approximate of my line as it stands right now. I have 13 different scents on my Facebook. Well, I only have about 5 on my Facebook page, but I do have 13 ongoing scents, like fir and grapefruit.
Ooh, that sounds good.
I call that lumberjack. I have Seer, which is cardamom and teakwood. Le Chevalier Vert. Everything has a medieval cast to it. All the names, which is eucalyptus and mint. That's one.
That sounds delicious. I like both of those. I like most of the fragrances you're talking about. The one with fern, is that what you said it was? That's
Fir.
Oh,
like
fir. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It's
do you have a piece of unwrapped soap that we might see what the actual soap itself looks like? Or
yeah,
I can just
unwrap it right now. This Crusader has a bit of vanilla in it. That's why it's brown. I can unwrap the other one to show you the difference. I don't use any colorants.
Okay.
Some people have, like my father had issues with colorants. See, there's.
Oh, yes, definitely. You can totally see that difference.
Yeah.
I want to smell them through the screen, but do not scratch.
It has not been invented. As I was saying, I do all of the packaging myself. Like, this is the little sample baggie that I make.
Oh,
or sample bar. This is the full size bag.
And do you have sample bars available then on your? Oh, cool. Oh, cool.
It's just parchment paper.
Yes, that you've like folded into a little box, and that is very cool. Yes,
I pulled out my cord.
That would explain that then, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, we are coming up on it's 4:51, so we're coming up here at the end of your time. I'm gonna pull it back here to both of us. Da, 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 da.
My card.
Yes, and also your information has been going in the ticker here below, and can be found after the show at any time, because the shows will remain up, of course. So in the low bars, all of the information is there. And then today, you are also participating in the magic word.
Yes, I am.
So those who order from you and use the magic word fairy ring at checkout will get their free bonus gift that you have. I don't know if you want to keep it as a surprise, or if you'd like to show it off.
I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
It's going to be a little personal. There we go. A little personal perfume.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. A little tin of personal perfume. I'm all sweaty. It's 82 degrees here.
Oh my gosh, I'm kind of jealous. I don't think we've had weather that hot here yet.
Yeah. And my I just wanted to that closes really tightly too.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So it's not going to come out.
And it'll come in a box like this.
Oh, nice.
Inside the box, yeah. Right. That logo.
All right.
But this is what's coming.
You get your little own personalized. Do they get to pick the fragrance, or is it a fragrance? Very cool.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show this afternoon.
Yes.
Yes, 100%. So that has been the thing that I have said all day today. 100%. Yeah. So I don't know. That word is in my brain, I guess, today. So thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
I will definitely do that. Hopefully it'll rain soon and cool down.
Oh yes, get that humidity out of the air.
I'm watching the thunder happening outside. I'm like, please not now. I don't need the electricity to go out now.
So we shall bid you adieu, and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, and thank you for.
Okay, I accidentally cut her off. Gosh, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to snip your word there. And please forgive me. I feel like a jerk. So our last vendor of the day today, Master Ark. Hello. I know we've kind of gone over a little bit. If you're okay with staying, a little bit after 5 p.m., I am good.
That's fine.
Yeah, we do not have to do the exact cutoff. Got to be flexible. So, Master Ark, please introduce yourself to our audience and tell us who you are, what you do. Give a shout out to your people in home kingdoms and events, and then let's take a look at what you've brought for us today.
All right, thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm Master Ark. I'm a member of the Society for Creative Anachronism, and I live in the Kingdom of Avical.
Where is that?
Well, I'm joining you today from my workshop in Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it's
international.
Not hot here. So I've been designing, creating, and selling jewelry for reenactors for over 35 years. When I first got involved in the society, nobody was making much of anything to sell. But everybody had a cloak, and they needed a way to close that cloak. So that's what I did. As far as I know, I was the first person to market cloak class in the SCA. This is actually the first cloak class that I did. I still market this design.
So basically, exactly what I was saying from our Dapper Goblin person with the leaf, and here you are.
In fact, not as fancy as the leaves he had to offer, but if you put those leaves around you, you could take this clasp. Let's see if I can get up where you can see it. You drop the pin, you work it through the material, you drop the back and rotate it, and your scarf, your cape, your cloak is clasped. This was actually the way to close a cloak for over 1,000 years in Northern Europe. It went from the Romans all the way up to the late Scots using it. I do several different varieties of penannular brooch. This is actually the one I use as my logo on my business card now. This one is white bronze.
These are great.
And labradorite. But I do a variety of the penannulars. Every one of these pieces is my original design. I strive to look at a lot of medieval pieces and then base my work off of those without copying it. So everything starts out as a design. This is the one you just saw. That's the penannular that you saw.
And you drew that?
I drew that.
Wow.
Yeah, it all has to start with the idea and then the design coming through. Most of the pieces I do are done by process of what I call cut work and overlay. So it all starts with a sheet of metal and a jeweler's saw. I'll make that design. I'll then actually glue the design right onto the metal, and then it's all hand cut work to cut out all the different pieces. Then those pieces are assembled. I'll silver solder it together. This is the master for my griffin. You'll notice it's got different colors of metal. I did that because I needed different thicknesses in the layers. Of course, when that's cast in bronze, it comes out as a single color. So this is the
Oh, wow. Oh,
ribbon that I
cool.
offer for sale.
Yes, and I see now, of course, from between the master and the final piece, what you mean with the thicknesses. That is really great.
Yeah, so the layers give it the depth. But I did want to show you a couple other cloak clasps before I got too
By
far off that.
all means.
This is the one I have on my own cloak these days. So this is a Saxon style clasp. It's a double hook and loop on this one.
How does it hook on the back? Can we see the very, like?
Well, they sew on. Let's see, I don't have that one right here, but I can show you this one. So the back of these have 3 points of attachment. So those are little sew-on loops there.
Mm-hmm.
And they work with some form of a hook and loop.
Gotcha.
They're
Okay.
all cast bronze, so they're extremely sturdy. I make them to be functional first and decorative second. Here's one if people are into a little more Fae sort of clasp. This is an oak leaf clasp. This one's sterling silver. I do make it in bronze as well.
Oh, I like that one. Not that I didn't like the other stuff. I'm liking all of it, I guess.
Exactly. Well, I try to cover a lot of bases. Some of you've heard of there was this thing on for a while called Game of Thrones. So this is a piece that was actually a custom request. This one again works with a hook and loop, but in this case, it's a chain and then a long hook on the other piece.
That is super cool, and I love. So now that you've shown this chain here, I have a question, somewhat related. Ooh, my little pointy fairy ear itches. I had to scratch my. I'm sorry. You can't see me, so you don't know what I'm doing over here, but I'm making all the noise in the mic. I had to scratch my ear. My question is, so I have several pieces that I wear cloak clasps between, and I do not have a cloak clasp for literally every cloak and I wear sleeves a lot, which are just sleeves that go around the back of my shoulders and down my arms. There's no back, long back to it other than just what crosses my shoulders. But I clasp this in front so that it does not fall off the back of my shoulders all the time. Yeah. Sort of like if you have a big coat or a sweatshirt, how it might fall off of you if you're, if it's oversized. Well, so I switch out my cloak clasps. Do you have a way to make them not permanently attached? Like, do you have a different type of back closure so you could change it out from one to the other? Or even like with the chain that you had there, are you able to provide a chain that could be adjustable so that if you need it longer for something that it's clasped to, and then if you were to put it on something smaller, you could maybe bring the chain in and have some of it dangle down? Or does that make sense, what I'm saying?
Yes, those do make sense. Actually, I don't make a removable clasp. I've thought about it. It's possible to put stick pin backs onto it so that you could put it on and remove it from a garment. So that could be done as a custom piece. It's not something I offer as regular stock. This is where, of course, the good old faithful penannular comes in, because this can be transferred from one item to another.
Right.
Also, if you're wearing something that's more lightweight, like say the leaf cape that the first gentleman showed us, you can go with a brooch on that. Like I use, this is one of my brooches that I use to close the neck of my tunic. This is a this is a spiral brooch I do. That. Yeah, I'm pretty proud of this one. This was actually, one of these was gifted to the wife of the Prime Minister of Ireland. So
really, actually Prime Minister, wife of the actually Prime Minister.
Yes,
wow.
Indeed. Yeah, that was pretty nice.
Minister of Ireland was gay.
Not that I know of, but
Well, I guess if he has a wife, then probably not.
doesn't necessarily rule it out.
That's true.
But I don't have any information. This is another brooch that you could use just as a simple clasp like that. This is actually based on a Scottish shield that's in the Glenbow Museum here in Calgary. Yeah, I was actually commissioned to do some pieces for the Glenbow Museum's gift shop. We got to go into the back of the museum and look at the collection, and then base pieces inspired by what they had in the museum, which was a lot of fun.
That is cool. What a fun little thing. I mean, that's cool.
I've got lots of things to show you, but I see we're running pretty much out of time here. So
no, keep it. If you want to show a few more things, by all means, continue. I was actually going to pull up your website here while you were talking. But if you have more things to show, I'll just close that back out. And
okay. Yeah, because these are things you can go on the website. Certainly, it mostly tells you a little bit more about me. And if you actually want to buy something, then you will want to go to my Etsy shop.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a few things that you wouldn't be able to see those places.
Well, let's get the inside scoop then. All right, I'm gonna embiggen you.
Okay.
Here you go.
This is a piece I wanted to share with you. This is a Viking style piece. It's called an Urns brooch. That's a style that uses wide and narrow lines in the interlace. And the reason I like this particularly is that the master for that I carved out of moose antler. So this is actually the original for that piece, carved out of
Where the heck did you get moose antler?
I live in Canada.
I just went into my backyard and went, hey, moose.
And I did want to real quickly show people my brand new Killer Rabbit series.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
As many of you know, there's violent rabbits hidden in the illuminations of medieval manuscripts.
Yes, that is so true.
So I looked at a lot of those, and this is like, the design development process. To go from the ideas in the manuscript to my piece. And then there's your... And
it's just a brooch, a pin, right?
I make these as pins and as pendants. Oh, there it is.
Oh my gosh, I love the killer rabbits so much. Sharp, pointy fangs.
The killer rabbits have been very popular, so...
oh, look at them.
This is my rapier rabbit.
These are adorable.
I'd love to show you the archer rabbit, but it's sold out. There will be more. There will be more.
Well, speaking of archer rabbit, it almost sounds like a name, doesn't it? Oh man, I wish I could see it all, but there's a medieval channel here on the YouTubes where the gal that is the musician takes modern music and then medievalizes it. So one of the ones that she did recently, she came out with Pumped Up Kicks is the name of the song, but it has been medievalized, and the image that she uses is a picture of an archer rabbit because it's a outrun my bow is one of the lines. And so she's got the medieval archer rabbit, and going to take a shot. And now I'm like, oh, I wish I could have seen the archer rabbit pin because there's like medieval music for it. I mean, sort of medieval.
I actually have, this is the failed master. This one didn't come out quite as good as I wanted it. So I redid it.
I love it.
But this is basically the rabbit, except I did it better the second time. That's one thing people often don't realize is that when you make a piece of jewelry, it doesn't always come out the first time or the second time. And
so a lot of hours go into that. I'm curious. And how did you say that you got the different metals to stick together when you do that? Or did you say?
I use silver solder, so it's a solder alloy that has a low melting temperature. You heat it in a torch, and the solder melts and fuses the metal together.
And then when you have the master, you create a mold from it. Is that the next thing?
That is correct. Yeah. So from the master, you do a rubber mold.
Oh, okay.
From the rubber mold, you do a wax. So you can see this this channel here in the top of the mold. So
yes.
You have a wax injector. You shoot wax into there. Of course, the mold is stuck together. The wax goes in through that hole. You open it up. You take your wax out. And then that wax is put into a material called investment, which is a type of high heat-resistant plaster. The wax is melted out, hence the name lost wax casting. And then the cavity that's left in the plaster is filled with molten metal. So that's the casting process that's used to create every one of these. Gosh,
there's so many steps. That's a lot of work that goes into a single design.
It is
incredible.
It is.
Well, what else? Did you have anything else for us?
An unending amount of things that I can show you.
One more thing, and then we shall bid adieu.
Okay. The one more thing I will show you then, I think is going to be a buckle.
Okay.
So, yeah, this is
cool.
my Saxon buckle. This is what it looks like on my belt.
Oh, cool.
And I made a matching strap in for it here.
What's the strap in part? Wait, what?
Well, this in the way these were worn, and I see this a lot in the SCA, is the tongue of the belt hangs down, has a metal weight on the end called a strap in. And this is actually historically how it was done.
Why did they do this? Do you know?
I don't know why. It took me a long time researching, because when I was making this buckle, I went, well, wait a minute. The belt is going to come across and cover all the decorative work.
Right.
So that doesn't make sense. So on a modern buckle, that's what would happen. But this little trick of, looping the belt through and back and dropping it down, which I always thought was just an SCA culture thing, is actually historical. So that's how they did it.
Well, I have learned a great many things from you today. Thank you, sir.
Okay, good. Well, thank you for having me. It's been a real pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm bringing us back here together. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And I have to say, oh boy, I have like a little cough that wants to come out. There it is. Excuse me. Woo. I have to say that I really enjoy, like props to you SCA folk. I am not an SCA person myself, but I have many friends who are, and you guys always know the coolest historical facts. We had a coin minter on several weeks back, and I felt like I could have just asked him questions for an hour about all these different coins that he did and the research and what, it was cool. And he really knew his stuff. And I just want to say that I super appreciate that about you guys, how well you have researched and know the history about the things that you make. It's actually, it's props to the SCA for that. So
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. And of course, your information is in the low bar and has been going across the ticker this whole time. But if people want to find you, you're always going to be there in the low bar. They can look back anytime. And with that, though, we will bid you good evening and adieu. Not 80 degrees up there in Calgary. All right. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, that brings us to the end today of our show. I realized after I got done showing you, so I wanted to just to kind of wrap it up a little bit here before we go, because normally I'm just kind of like, hit the like and subscribe, share everywhere. And but while I was while I was watching the comments and everybody was showing their things, I gave my 2 new pens a try. So this was the one. I don't even know if I showed you guys, but it opens quite nicely. So I wanted to show you. Here we go. This is the ballpoint here up top, and this is the I keep wanting to say quill because it's a nib. Sorry, the fountain pen below. So I write with quills all the time. That's why I keep wanting to say quill. And I make them and sell them, and so is a thing. Anyway, this is the fountain pen below, the ballpoint up top, and I thought I would just put that up there. But also, I found in my box one more thing. This was cool. I wanted to share it with you. So this is a letter opener that was, I had a little add-on, and I forgot that I had actually ordered this with the Cocobolo again. And so I just thought I would share the last thing with you guys. Anyway, quite beautiful, very sharp. Hair stick, no. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us this evening, and we will see you on Wednesday for Fae News. So today's Wednesday. Yes. Today's Sunday. Yes. We will see you back here on Wednesday for Fae News. And we skipped last week, so we probably have a lot of things to talk about this Wednesday. Have a good Sunday night, everybody. Bye-bye.